everybody online, so we got to get used to it. You guys still been using it?
Yeah, I do. I hired a bookkeeper.
Nice.
County. Yeah, so definitely. Yeah.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
I was coming over here and I literally brought everything except cards. I'm gonna give you a pen. I'm gonna give you a couple
That has the information on it.
Went to a networking event this weekend. Took my box of cards out
Uh-huh.
of the car.
Yeah.
And just left them in the office.
Oh, nice.
Leave them all for emergencies.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. What I hear from everybody is there's definitely some things that take a look at, suggest. I never tell anybody to, make any drastic changes, but there are things that take a peek at and say, hey, we can make some ongoing improvements there. That's worth it.
Yeah, and is it a single office or?
We have one, so we have an office out in Stoughton, and another one on Cape, down in Agnew. We do operate a bit like one of those. We operate very online, thankfully. I don't like paper. That's why I come to this stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a business. We're going on 20 years.
Oh, cool.
It's very fun.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. My background's in finance. It's most of my career. Fixed income, capital markets, portfolio management. 4 years ago, kind of shifted to more entrepreneurial space, investing in small businesses, some angel investing.
Very nice.
Consulting capacity with some other partners with small businesses. This business is the first one. It's a big project. And then I'm still doing some other investing in small businesses on the retail side. So it's not a big it's trying to, one of the first things I did was first thing, but keeping pennies are going, how the customers operate, cash flow cycle. Got not.
Yeah. We'll talk a little bit after. I'm curious to hear, and then if you ever want to stop by, you said you're out in Braintree.
Yeah, my kids go to school just off the 6 down.
Cool.
Sure is awesome.
Yes, sir. And this stuff today is going to be recorded, so if you want to watch back later on, you can get it. Everything. You're not in the way. Don't worry. We made sure of it. Yeah. Yeah. I know him. Yeah. No. And I'm getting it. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be on Instagram. All that stuff. It's currently live streaming to YouTube. So, yeah. What's up, guys? Felipe here. It's chilling, vibing. All right, cool. So let's get started. So, sup, guys? My name is Paulo. For one of you that don't know me, my name is Paulo. I run an IT and cybersecurity company based here in South Shore, Massachusetts. I started off in 2012 was when my journey started, and then in 2017, that's when I went full-time into business, and I've been helping businesses ever since. We operate out of the cloud, meaning we don't have a physical office, at least not anymore. So we try to do the physical office. It was good for repairs and stuff like that, but most of our demand is for businesses that need ongoing support and management. So we provide that for businesses all across the South Shore. We also do consultations for businesses that is everywhere in the U.S. So I've helped some people in Chicago, in Florida, in California, Texas, just to name a few that I've helped out recently. And we basically go over, we do basically a high-level overview of everything that's going on in the business. And then we try to get them to work more secure, more effective, and try to implement better systems. So that way you can get more out of the same things that you had before. So today's presentation is going to be talking about cybersecurity, working from a secure standpoint, and when you're implementing things, what to be looking out for. So I'm going to be talking about some insights, and this is for business owners, whichever it is. Some of this stuff you may already be familiar with, other things will be brand new. I promise that I will cover as much things as possible. And then at the end, if you have any questions or if you want to get into some details about something specific, we can absolutely do that. So first of all, let's go into cybersecurity straight away. So cybersecurity is just a capture-all term that basically is protection of data. So cybersecurity, and I'll give you this example right here. So let's say a small accounting firm. We love accounting firms. So a small accounting firms, let's say in Braintree, received a file that looks legitimate from a client, and it's an invoice that they open up with something of an urgent matter, and then you just click on it. Within 16 minutes, give or take, all the client files are locked, phone systems are down, email servers are compromised, and banking access is locked. And this usually happens on a Thursday or a Friday, right when payroll is coming around. So it's never convenient. The ransom demand isn't something really bad. It's like 50 grand. But if you don't have 50 grand just laying around and you don't want to send it over to them, you're going to be locked up until you can get it resolved. Now, the real cost of this isn't the 50,000, it's the other stuff that happens, which is, the clients are going to be losing trust. The clients that you have, their information is going to be out there or is going to be secured by somebody else. And this is a pretty realistic scenario. It's not a movie plot. I know, there's been lots of cases, especially in the last 2 years, where this is happening left and right. And if you're not prepared, then it can catch you by surprise. And then you're either spending thousands of dollars unnecessarily or spending thousands of hours trying to get things recovered. And that's never fun. So that is a realistic thing that's happening all the time. So what is the myth and what is the reality? The myth is, I'm a small company. I only have a couple people. I'm not being targeted. Why should I care about this? I'm not a big bank. I'm not a big enterprise. I'm not a big building. Why would they want to come after me, right? Well, the reality is that you are their primary target market. So if you're a small business, you're actually 3 times more likely to get targeted as opposed to a big enterprise. Why is that? Well, you're basically the low-hanging fruit. You're something that they can access quickly and make a quick $50,000 to $100,000, and they know that you need to operate. So they know that the chances of it likely succeeding for a small business that isn't protected is a lot higher than a full conglomerate business that has a bunch of protections in the way. And so you're actually an increased target because of that, because they know that things happen. And how does things happen? Well, 40 to 50% of all attacks, like cybersecurity attacks. What do I mean by an attack? I mean, they're sending you an email, they're calling you or spamming you, they're pretending to be somebody else, they're sending you information or documents to try to get you to click on something that you're not supposed to, and then bam, that's how they get you. So it's not even that there's somebody outside with a black hoodie on in their car just trying to spam getting into your network. That is a very unlikely scenario. The likely scenario is that somebody very far away sees that you're unprotected, is trying to send you a bunch of stuff, and if you just click on anything, even if that click doesn't immediately get them in the door, they know that there's somebody there that is willing to click on stuff, and now you've become a target. And so that's kind of how it goes. And just like how we have our full-time jobs, these guys have full-time jobs to try to get into other people's network and try to get them to pay you. It is a sad reality that we live in, that's happening, but it is. And most of them, I want to say about 90% of these successful attacks happen only because of human error. And human error, or the human aspect of a business, is the one that has the most amount of risk. So we're all business owners. We're here to learn, to try to be better, how to secure ourselves better. But if the employees that you hire, they are also using the same systems, if we're not relaying that information to them, they could be the reason why something happens. Why? Because they didn't know they weren't supposed to click on that link, or they didn't know that things come through email, and email should be considered like a battlefield where things constantly need to be reviewed and planned. So the human error aspect, we save that by having these kinds of conversations and by having these kinds of training. When we have constant training of what to look out for, that's how we're securing our business at all times. So if you don't know, most of the attacks that happen come through email. So in your inbox, if it's a lot of people I see that are running businesses off of their Yahoo account, off of their Gmail account, off of their Hotmail account. And these accounts, they're not bad per se, in theory. However, they have no further protection or advanced protection in them. So if you're using an open email account like Yahoo or AOL or any of those things, they don't have any protections or any advanced protections for your business. And for you to properly secure those kind of accounts by themselves is almost impossible. So if you have a paid for and an enterprise level account, which is like a Microsoft Business account or a G Suite account for Google. Now, that's when you can get into the compliance management. That's when you can get into data management, data security. And you can't do that on just free emails. Free emails are great for one thing, low cost of entry. Everything else kind of goes downhill from there. So when we're talking about the data and the risk that's going on inside of it, what are we talking about? We're talking about customer data, intellectual property, operations, business communications. All of these things are assets, or they should be considered assets. They shouldn't just be considered just information that you're exchanging. That kind of information is what hackers are dying to pay for. Why? Because client information, they can use that to sell fake identities. Business communications, they can use that to target your clients if they get all of your clients' information through the business communications. Operations, they can now take over your operations. They can, hold everything and tell you to pay up, so they can, so you can get back online, and then they can also get a payday. And then intellectual property. So trade secrets, your process, your procedures. You can have two of the same businesses, like in the same industry, accounting firm A, accounting firm B. You can be offering the exact same things, but how you guys operate will be completely different. One will have a Gmail, the other one will have Microsoft, one will have QuickBooks, the other one will have Xero or whatever it is. So there's always a difference, and what makes you successful and what makes you good, the other person might be doing something completely different, and so that's why you're a target. And once they see that they can get any of these things, that's when they're really double down and start targeting you even more. So what are the things that we must do today? These are the 5 key takeaways. If you're not doing all 5, there's some kind of vulnerability that is going in your business. So we're talking about multi-factor authentication. MFA, it sucks, it's inconvenient, but it is something that saves us 95% of the time. It does suck, especially if you have a computer and you're putting in your information and it's your computer. So you're like, why do I have to keep putting in this dang on code every single time? Well, that's because if the hackers have your email and your password, they can try to get into your account. But if they don't have that MFA account, then there's no way they can get in. So you'll see the attempts to get into your account, but they won't be able to get in. The multi-factor authentication can be done through text messaging, or it can be done through an app. text messaging, they actually see that it's only 50% effective compared to the app. So if you don't have the app, a secondary option is to put text messages, but if you're really being targeted and they know your phone number, they can just put in your phone number and have it redirected to them instead of to you. And so having the application, it's a lot more difficult. Is that English? A lot more difficult to capture. The way that they have to capture using the MFA through the app is called token theft. Essentially what that means is once you log in with your account and log in with your MFA, that creates a token or creates like a verification that everything's okay. While that's live and active, they can copy that token and then use it themselves into their system, and then boom, they have access to everything. That's called token theft, where they steal an active token and use it themselves. But to get that is a lot more difficult than the SMS. So what I do for my clients is that when I can, I turn off the SMS and just leave with the authenticator code. Second thing, security awareness training like we're having today, not only with the people in charge, but also with your employees. Whether it's you make them watch a YouTube video or have us come out and talk to them directly or whatever it is, as long as they have some kind of training, that's essential to do. Endpoint protection. Endpoint protection is basically your computers. And long gone are the days where you can just put an antivirus on your computer and think you're safe. Endpoint protection requires 3 layers of protection. We're talking about antivirus, of course. We do detection response, which is basically, it's an AI that goes into your computer, learns how you are using your computer, sees what you normally open and what you don't open, and it's like, okay, this is how this person functions. Anything outside of this is considered bad, and we're going to block it. So that's, and then if they detect something, it immediately shuts off your computer or shuts off the connection to the internet for your computer. So that's EDR. And the third one is backup. So in case everything fails, somebody is just persistent on clicking yes on everything that appears on the screen, and we can't get them to stop. And then they get locked, and then the last point is we get their stuff backed up. So that way we can just restore from a point that was recently backed up, and then they don't have to worry about putting everything back on their computer. The other thing is secure file sharing. So I actually have the best analogy for this. I went to help out a consultation for a firm, I won't say what kind of firm, but a firm in Framingham, and they asked me to do a consultation. I was like, great, no problem, love to. So I came by and I was like, all right, show me how you guys operate. And they were showing me everything was cool, and then I just kept seeing like thumb drives left and right. I'm like, okay, and then they concluded everything. It was like, that's everything. I was like, okay, cool, but quick question. What's going on with the thumb drives? I've never seen so many thumb drives in my life, and I just see you guys just passing it back and forth. And they're like, oh, that's how we share client information. Like, excuse me? And they're like, yeah, we got thumb drives, and when one person is done with this computer, they'll copy it and then put it to the next computer and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, so how do you know who has access to it? Oh, we just give it to the person that needs access to it. I'm like, okay, and is it locked or anything? No. Once they're done using it, they just put it in their drawer. I was like, oh, okay, great. So that's a complete red flag, and you're not in compliance, and it's really bad. And that's how they do file sharing, and that's their way of protecting the client data, not knowing that somebody can take it home, or then they spill it on the street and then somebody else can pick it up and grab it. So there's just so many reasons why that's a really bad idea. The best idea is to have everything in one place. So we talk about unification of data and unification of communication. Unification of data is basically grabbing all the data that you have, putting it in one place, and having permissions for everything. If everything has permissions, then we know who has access to what at all times. And if you have a really good system, you can have an audit trail which means if something were to happen, we can see who accessed what at what time. And you can get that done through a SharePoint server. You can get that done through a Windows server. You can get that done through, you can technically even get that done with Google, but it's a lot more difficult to do, very manual to do. And you can do that with a lot of cloud-based things. And if you don't want to do cloud, you can do an on-premise, which means it's just a computer that's local, and you'll have Windows in it, and then you can do all the permissions that way. And then people will have to access it from, if they have to access it remotely, not through the office, you'll know who has access at what times. So the secure file sharing is very important. How about sending it out? When you're sending stuff to your clients, if it has sensitive information, you should be encrypting that stuff. Because there's a thing called man-in-the-middle attack. Basically, my computer is here, my client's computer is all the way in Braintree, and by the time my emails leaves here to there, it hits a bunch of different servers. So there could be an instance where one of those servers or one of those pathways to those servers are not secure. So what we do is, if you have really sensitive information that you absolutely don't want anybody else to have, we ask that you encrypt that information. So that way, when you send it, even if there's somebody snooping in between the path, when they look at it, they can't see the contents that's inside of it. They can only see that information went. What kind of information? They'll never know because it's encrypted. So that's how we look at secure file sharing. And lastly is the security audits for your vendors. Vendors are basically the people that you work with. Intuit, Microsoft, Comcast, Verizon, if it's a vendor, you should know what their security practice is, or at least have an idea of what, like if you know it's not a big company and you're working with them, you should at least have an idea of if something were to happen, do they have an incident response plan? Do they have, what do they do for cybersecurity measures? And that's one of the things that we work with our clients is, okay, you're working with X, Y, and Z, you're working with enterprise, you're working with Comcast. Do they have a cybersecurity instance in place? And do they have a plan for you in case something were to happen? So the same technology that's threatening all of us, threaten our livelihoods, well, it can also save us. And that's where AI is coming in. So that was the cybersecurity side, and it's very grim and bad, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, but it is our reality that we need to face. Not that we want to, or I want to scare you for some reason. I want to put the reality in front of you so that way you can decide how you want to manage everything that's going on. And so with that being said, when we're thinking about AI, when we're thinking about implementing new things, we have to think about all of these things. At least when I do it, this is what all I'm thinking about. Is this secure? Is this going to keep my client secure? Is this going to put me in a bad position? If this data were to not be in a secure location, how easy would it be for somebody to access it? And if they access it, what kind of information am I putting here that could be a problem for me or for my clients? So that's everything that I'm thinking about. So, and that's what a lot of people are thinking about too, because this is basically the adoption rate. So you probably witnessed it yourself or felt it yourself, but AI is actually being integrated a lot faster than the internet was back in the 90s. Back in the 90s and the early 2000s, a lot of people were still thinking that the internet was a fad. In fact, in 2006 or 2007, there was a company that said that the internet was a fad, and within 3 years they ran out of business because that's what they believed. So there's a lot of people thinking AI is a fad now, it's just going to go away. AI is not going to go away. It can't go away. It's been adopted, it's been integrated, and it's only going to get even more integrated into businesses when they learn how to do it properly. A lot of people or a lot of businesses are implementing it without knowing the consequences, or at least most of them are doing that. Why? Because if they don't use it, they're going to be left behind. And if they do use it, well, they'll get a lot more work done. So they just rather implement everything right away rather than wait. So the adoption rate is actually 4 times faster than the internet. Just think about that for a second. So 90% of businesses now are using the AI to remain competitive. And out of the 90, 83% of those are just reporting that they use AI in regular business functions. So it is quite fascinating to see how quickly we've adapted this kind of technology and how quickly we're implementing it. So I had to take on the task of learning about it, checking out how it works, how the security of it works. So I'm guessing you both are using AI for stuff? Okay. Which one of you have read the data security terms for any of the AIs? Yeah, some of it. A good skimming. Yeah. So that's basically how it is. People want to implement stuff and then later figure out, oh, by the way, is this even secure? And I had to figure out a way to put in the security first, per usual. So just like in IT, we do stuff for security first, and then we make things better. So when we go into a business, we're like, okay, you have all of these open doors, let's close them. Let's start closing them, and then we'll start implementing stuff. Same thing goes for AI. Before we open these doors for AI, let's make sure that they're closed, make sure that they're good. So I came up with a process for that. And that process is called the E.A.S.E framework. And basically it's ethical, it's accessible, it's secure, and it's efficient. Mostly the secure part. So especially if you're in a compliance-based business, which I don't think you fall in that category, but it's still good to know in case something were to happen, how is my data being managed, how it's being treated. So we have to figure out, is this ethical? Am I just downloading all my client information into a public forum? That's bad. Is it accessible? Can I use it when I'm on the road? Can everybody in the office use it? Is it secure? Am I putting all this information in a place where it's not going to be accessed by other people? And is it efficient? Meaning, can I use this just for me, or can I scale this out to my whole team? And that's basically my way to safely integrate AI. So one of the things that I've recently been talking to, I've actually been talking to somebody that's creating a framework for the government down in Florida that is going to be, it's basically going to be a requirement for law firms to abide by, and that is AI safety regulations. And so I've been working with him and having conversation with him, and I'm like, listen, man, I have a lot of people that just want to implement AI. They want to put in ChatGPT in everywhere. They want to put Gemini in everywhere, and I just need to know how to orient them in a better way. And I can't tell them no, because that's not a possibility. Everything needs to be having AI. So one of the things that we talked about is making sure that you're not using a free version of anything. If you're in a business, you shouldn't be using a free version of any of these things, because if it's free, that means you're the product. So they're using your information to be able to advance their prompts and everything that they're using. So never use a free product, one. And if you're using a free product, make sure that you're not using it for free information. For personal information or for sensitive information. You're using it for like Google, just asking it something generic in general. And then the other way is, how deep do you want this to go? Like, how accessible do you want it to be? How secure do you want it to be? How ethical do you want it to be? All these things matter. So there's 2 routes that I see that I'm helping businesses implement right now. Is one through ChatGPT Enterprise. And Enterprise basically means you get a full suite of protection. Nothing ever is touched in the public domain. And we can add your employees to it, and you can safely upload all your files. You can connect your SharePoint, Microsoft, your Google, everything in there, and it gets integrated, and you can use it as your own private cloud. There's other businesses that are creating their own private cloud because they can do that too. With a computer, graphics card, a server, you can create your own private one. But depending on your demand, that can cost anywhere between $50,000 to $200,000. So instead of implementing that right away, they're like, how about we start with the enterprise version of ChatGPT, where it's a low cost of entry and everybody has access to it. It's still ethical, secure, accessible, but it doesn't cost us an arm and a leg. So that's one. The other one that's, depending on the size of your business, can be also a money saver is Copilot. Now, Copilot by itself sucks. Not gonna lie, it sucks. I used it before, and it never functions the way that I wanted it to. So for me, I already put it out my mind until I had a conversation with my guy. And he was just like, did you know that you can integrate ChatGPT and Copilot? And I was like, no, I did not know that. So he walked me through it. Office 365, Copilot, you need to have a Copilot license. It's about $30 to $40 per user. And basically you get Copilot, and Copilot is separated, meaning it can fall into compliance of how secure it is. So Copilot, boom, you have your entire infrastructure of AI inside of Copilot, and now you can turn on ChatGPT, and it basically functions like ChatGPT. You just have to use the cloud version of Copilot, not the one that's local. So if you go to, I think it's cloud.copilot.com, sign in, and you have your thing. Right at the top, you can turn on ChatGPT, and when you put in your prompt, it'll grab everything in Copilot. It'll have the ChatGPT function, and it basically works all together into one. And so you can create AI agents through it. AI agents is something very recent and new, and basically you can have it AI agents, you can have it do so many things. The ones that I use it for is for three things. One is to read all my emails, give me a summary, and give me a positive or negative response to every single one. So even if I don't choose to respond to it, I actually have at least a starter ready to go. And it's just like, okay, you want to respond positively, this is how you do it. Negative, this is how you do it. And I was like, okay, now it saves me time to think about how do I want to respond to it. It's like, okay, I want to respond to this positively, and then I gotta think, okay, this is how I want to draft it out. Now, just see how it is, and then you can change it into your own language. But as it learns, it'll eventually be putting it into your own language like mine is now. So now I don't even have to recreate how I would say it. It knows how I say it, and it learns and adapts and changes that way. The other thing I use it for is a social media idea maker. Basically, it grabs everything from my business. It knows what's going on, and it's just like, and I put in my website in there that has everything laid out, and it's just like, based on this and the current trends that is going on, this is the videos that you can make with the scripts and everything already laid out. That'll give you the best outcome. And you can do it, and then you can also put in, I did it, after a week, this is the results, and it'll tell you how to make it better, how to make it, how to adjust it. And this is all in AI agent. And the other one that I'm using it for is to scout the internet. Anytime there's a cyber attack in Massachusetts, anytime anybody mentions Truly Unlimited or mentions Paulo Bezerra or mentions anything that I put in the keywords, it basically creates a summary report for me, and it tells me this is the latest trends that's going on. This is all the keywords that you mentioned in there. I didn't find anything. It literally tells me, it's just like the keywords that you put in there, I didn't find anything on Reddit, Google News, or any reputable sources. Try different keywords if you want. So this is the stuff that I would have to hire people out for. I would have to hire an admin to respond to all my emails. I would have to hire a social media expert to give me ideas and put in stuff. So AI agents are not a people or person replacement, but it is a tool that can work with the people that you have in place, right? So before, I would like, this is what I was doing for social media. For social media, I have to become an expert on social media, figure out how Instagram works, how TikTok works, how YouTube works, putting stuff in there, seeing if it works, seeing if it doesn't, figuring out what I want to talk about, create a script and going off script, doing stuff that's just documented instead of creative. So I had to learn by trial and error along the years to figure out how to properly do it. Now I have an AI agent that is telling me, hey, this is the best practices for these things. It's just like, I've done this, so I know that this is accurate. But now I can hire somebody, let's say a social media expert, and instead of them telling me ideas, I'll give them the ideas and then they can just refine it, make it better, and focus on the media aspect of it instead of the creative and design aspect of it. So you're saving time, you're saving money, and you're basically expanding what you can do with the same resources that you have before. So you don't have to necessarily expand the team, but if you have the team in place for every aspect that you need it for, they can now get a lot more done in less time. Okay, so an example of that is Alice. So some of you, or one of you, know about Alice, but Alice is basically, she's been my AI agent before AI agent was a thing. Basically, I created her with ChatGPT, and I put in, once I paid for it, I put all my information in there, put all my business information in there, talked about some witty stuff, and then she just pumps out anything in my basically in my language. So I'll give you an example. So I'm going to ChatGPT right now. I'm gonna go to Alice. Alice, where are you? Okay, I'll just create a new prompt because Alice is integrated in everything. Let's see how this works. It's blank, so it's either gonna work or it's not. Let's see. All right, Alice, I am in the South Shore Chamber of Commerce event today. Do you remember the event that we created for today? The Lunch and Learn? Anyways, so can you basically go over how I created you, who you are, and what you do for me? When you're done with that, can you draft a professional follow-up email to a client about their project timeline? Do it for the last client that we had it for, but omit their name just for security purposes.
Absolutely, Paulo. Let's roll with that. So first off, here's a quick recap of how I came into the picture. Basically, you designed me E.A.S.E as your personal AI assistant to handle a whole bunch of tasks, from brainstorming and creating content to helping you out with business strategies. Think of me as a kind of digital J.Edmar VIS, like from Iron Man, but for your business and personal tasks. I've got all the know-how on your projects, your preferences, and the way you like things done. I'm here to make your life easier, add a bit of flair to your presentations, and keep things running smoothly behind the scenes. Now, let me switch gears and draft that professional follow-up email for your client about their project timeline. I'll leave out any names, just as you asked. Subject: timeline update and next steps. I hope this email finds you well. I wanted to follow up with you regarding the project we've been working on together and provide a brief update on the timeline. As of now, we're right on track with the milestones we discussed. We've completed the initial assessment phase and have moved into the implementation stage as planned. Over the next week, our team will be focusing on integrating the solutions we recommended, and we expect to have everything ready for your review by specific date. Please feel free to let me know if you have any questions or need any additional details in the meantime. We're here to ensure everything goes smoothly and that the final outcome meets your expectations perfectly. Thank you again for your continued trust in us. We're looking forward to delivering a great result for you. Best regards, Paulo Bezerra, founder and CEO, Truly Unlimited. There you go. Let me know if you need any tweaks.
Yeah. So, boom. So that's how advanced we're getting. And when I told her to show me what you would theoretically look like, That's what she came up with. I was like, okay, cool. You can make it as fun. You like this for me, it's fun. You know, it's not something that, of course, it's important for business. It's you should treat it with respect and make sure you know what's going in and out of these things. And there's things that you can do to make it better. So there's courses that you can take on AI now. The most popular one at the moment is called prompt engineering. And basically, the stuff, a lot of people right now are using ChatGPT as just like Google, like just searching stuff up. But ChatGPT does a lot more than that. The deep research function is amazing if you've never done any kind of work in a specific sector. I was just at an event last month with somebody else that was talking about AI, and he does, what does he do? I forgot exactly what he does. I think he's a construction worker or has a construction company. But he basically does, he's an architect. That's what it is. He's an architect, and he designed a building, right? And there was this client, he was like, all right, you designed the building. It's awesome. It looks great. Now I want to implement, I need to know what my budget is. He's like, all right, cool. Talk to the construction worker, blah, blah, blah. And a construction company that can pull it together, put in the quotes and everything. And it's a huge project. It's like a $30 million project. Okay. Not something small. It's not a backyard. So he did the construction company that he's working with. They weren't contacting him back. So the architect went on their closed ChatGPT, put in the client information, and did the deep research option. Now he put in the deep research. Here's the entire architect layout. Here's everything that we're gonna need. Create a budget for this client. After about an hour of it doing deep research, because for these prompts, it'll give you stuff. But if you do deep research, it's like, okay, is there anything else before I go dive and come back with some stuff? It's just like, nope, that's it. And then so dived. An hour later, it came back with a 16-page, ready to go research of what it might be cost to do this. And he was like, put in, make sure that there's some leeway, because this is just estimated. This is not, accurate. So they put in about a 2 to 3% leeway, and it came out with $28.5 million to do the whole thing for materials, labor, everything. About 2 weeks later, the construction worker came in and gave him the thing. It was $27.8 million. So the error rate was minuscule, So these are things that you can do with ChatGPT. Or AI in general. There's things like Gamma. This entire presentation here. Once I did all the research and everything, I plugged everything into it, and it gave out this entire presentation. The only thing I did was move some pictures around, move some formats, but everything was created within. This presentation normally takes me 2 weeks to make. It was done in 4 hours. From collecting all the information, putting everything together. I tell it what, I give him my logo, I give him my color scheme, everything is just like, hey, this is the theme. These are the points I'm talking about. Make about 15 slides or less about all of these things. And I needed to have my E.A.S.E framework in there. I need to have this. This is all the talking points I'm gonna do. And just like, okay, here you go, draft it. Literally within 3 minutes, it created the entire presentation. Exported it to PowerPoint, and then I took out all the extra stuff that they put, because they put a lot of stuff on the presentation. I like mine clean. I don't like mine, full of stuff. So I took out all the excess stuff the way that I do it. But all this stuff usually takes a long time just to create. So it's saving me time to create the presentation, saving me time to do the deep research, to do all this stuff. And it can be used very, very wonderfully. I have, just good experiences with it. And if we're knowing how to manage the data that's inside of it, that's even better. Most of the companies that I work with now, that are software companies, they're actually putting AI in their stuff. And so that's when we talk to those vendors. We're like, how is this data being managed? Are you just adding a ChatGPT plugin? Is that being, referred back somewhere else? Like, how is that working? Because you don't want to get surprised one day when all of your information is out there, and when you look at it, it was being leaked by, an AI that was integrated with a new system that you didn't even needed. So those are the conversations that we need to have, and just making sure that we're doing our due diligence, making sure that the businesses or the vendors that we're working with, they're doing their due diligence as well. So this is how we look at, or the process that we take when we're consulting businesses for AI. And we like to do basically a high level overview of everything. How we don't just like, okay, add this and add that. No. We want to see, okay, what is going on with your business? And you can do this, take this back with you as well. You do an intake. Basically, you figure out, how does your business operate? What is the workflow from acquiring a client to working with the client to finishing with the client? And then after that, what is the life cycle? What is the workflow? What is happening in my business? You do that intake, and then you take an assessment. Okay, everything that's operating here is essential because I need to get the customer. Once I get the customer, it's essential because I need to do the work exactly this way. Otherwise, it's not going to be good. And then once it's done, I need to make sure that the client pays me, that they're satisfied, that they're happy, that all of this is done, blah, blah, blah. You need to make sure that you have all of that. Then you assess at which points can you take away? Can you make better? Which one do you need more people in, less people in? And then that's when we add the protection. When everything is going from the workflow from the beginning to end, can you tell where the information is? Are you using one system for one process, or are you using multiple systems for multiple process, or are you using one system for everything and you have access, and you know who has access to what information? So that's where the protection comes in. After we do the intake, the assessment, the protection, that's when we take in, okay, out of everything here, what can we automate? What can we add a tool here to make people's lives better or more efficiently? They can work more efficiently. And basically, we'll deploy any kind of AI to enhance that thing. So let's give an example. When somebody calls for customer service, if you are a really bad people person, and you've always been a bad people person, it'll be great if we can put an AI in there and just treat them with some dignity and respect. We have you've probably worked with some people, I know I have, where they can do their job, but as soon as it comes to interacting with the customer, they just don't have that swag or that that niceness, or they don't have the awareness of what it is to talk with a human being. And if that's the case, like, hey, great news, you're never going to have to talk to a client again, or if you do, it's very minimum, or it's going to be through email, which you can save some headaches on. So we can then put in a customer service AI. Basically, we'll feed that AI with all of your company's information, your hours of operation, what offerings you do and don't have, and who works there, and then we can put it in there, and it's just like when somebody calls, they can respond to all the basic questions, and then they can treat that person nicely. And right now, when you call somebody, or when you call a place that has AI, you can kind of tell it's AI, but it's getting so good that pretty soon you're not going to be able to tell. And so that's what we're working on right now with a couple people, is figuring out how to put a voice chat for people to call if they don't have a customer service. On the other hand, if I'm working with you and I see you have fantastic customer service, why would you put AI in the middle of that? You don't want to do that. You don't want to cut off one of the reasons why people keep coming back. So I just recently talked to a gym, a private gym, and they do fantastic customer service. Like, people go in there to talk to the employees. Like, that's how good it is. And it's just like, and they're like, oh, but like, we just talked to an AI company that wants to come in and implement everything, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, cool, awesome. Your systems are going to be better. And then they told me, yeah, they even have like a phone feature for customer service. I was like, hold up, pause, break. Why would we do that? We have great customer service. You have the people for it. Why would you do that to yourself? So we want to be mindful of where we're putting in AI and how it makes sense. And then once we put in some systems, we're going to be watching it to make sure we can optimize it, make it better, making sure that people are actually being more effective. Things are either getting done faster, or they're getting done properly, or they're getting done faster and properly. So that's where the optimization comes in, and we can make it better. If there's anything that we can approve on, we'll improve it, and then we'll scale it for as big or as little as you want. You want your entire department to act this way, or do you want just the first touch to be this way, or do you want your inventory to be all AI? Do you want your customer feedback to be all AI? And then there's so many things that we can do. We can create triggers. So when a customer finishes paying an invoice, it triggers one of the automations to send them an email, so we don't have to manually do that. We can set up so when somebody calls you for the first time, or does a job with you for the first time, it asks for feedback, it asks for a review. So there's a lot of things that you can do with automations and AI. And that's, we can get really customizable and can get pretty big pretty quickly. So it depends how much you want to invest in it. So I'll give you some real world examples. So let's say there's a firm. The first one there is a firm looking at numbers, looking at graphs, fun. And they're doing, let's say they're doing tax prep. Why not? You're here, so just taxes just in my head. So let's just doing their manual tax prep. And this company is doing it manually. Like I said, USBs back and forth, graphs on pen and paper. They don't have any software at all, or they're doing it, but they're doing it on an Excel sheet. And it's just manual labor, manual stuff over time. That can consume over 60 hours a week just on that manual entry. So if we put in a document management system where it's automated for you, where you plug in a couple things and it does the rest for you, you know how much time it saves. It saves a lot of time. So you're going from 60 hours of implementing just some data to then being able to get 60 hours of other work done, which is more efficient, and your clients will be a lot happier, and you can have that same employee do a lot more in the same amount of time. You don't have to pay overtime. You don't have to hire another person. You're just training them to do their job more efficiently and better. Because we're implementing the right tools. Another one is auto dealerships that basically they have customer payments. I had one client that their payment system was a credit card reader attached to a fax machine. And that's how they operated. And I've never seen that before. I don't even know how that connection would work, but anyways, it's just a telephone line, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. How would they do that? But that's how they operated. No PCI compliance, no data protection, no nothing. And then we take that and we put in an AI POS system, or just a POS system with AI built in. Let's say, I'll give us some examples. QuickBooks, Square, Clover, all of these have AI built into them now. So once we put in something like that, not only are they now getting their payments more securely, now they see how often they're getting paid. What is the day that gets the most payment? Who has done reoccurring transactions? You're getting basically some data off of the information you're getting anyways, and now you have something that you can track way better than before. So you eliminated all these risks by probably about 80%. And the other one is clinics or healthcare. Healthcare in general is a lot of I hate to say it, but there's a lot of health clinics that don't take patient data very seriously, especially if it's like a local one that's just like starting up. They put that in the back of their minds. And then we talk about HIPAA compliance and we talk about PII compliance. It just goes over their heads. And so when we go in there, like, okay, we do an assessment. It's just like, hey, all these are vulnerabilities. Do you want to do something about it? And most of the time they're like, yes. And I love working with them because they know that there's a lot of data at risk and we need to put in certain things in place so that way they can be more secure. A lot of them say no. And then at that time, I have to make them sign a document that basically says we accept all the risks, because if I go in there and I tell them, hey, there's risk here, and then they're like, okay, cool, we know there's risk, we don't want to do anything about it. I make them sign because there's been instances where I tell them they don't do anything, something happens, and then they say like, oh, but nobody ever told us. No. And then I have the State Department coming after me. I don't need that. So I secure myself even if they don't want to be secured. So here are some key takeaways. Risk management isn't optional. There's risk everywhere. Whether you're already using systems, whether you're using AI or not, there is risk. And risk management is not optional. We have to do something about it. We have to know how data comes in and out of our systems at all times. So most of the cyber attacks happen with small businesses. 60% of breaches close business within the first 6 months. And I hate seeing that happen because it takes so long for businesses to take off. I've been in business full time, 8 years now. And to get that all taken away because there wasn't preventative measures put in place due to a breach, and then I have to close within 6 months because people aren't trusting me anymore, the income isn't coming anymore, and people are just not satisfied, then I have to close my doors. That's a sad way to go. And basic security measures like the one we talked about today, MFA, endpoint protection, all that stuff can be prevented 90% of the attacks. Okay, so AI is powerful, as we talked about. We have Alice, we have all these other tools that are coming out now, and we just need to obviously implement it because that's how we're going to be more efficient. But we also have to be mindful of how this information is out there. There was an instance in Florida, because I was talking to the guy in Florida, and there was a medical facility. Sorry, not a medical facility. There was a government facility that was working on a secret project. And there was a closed out room with just computers that was sectioned off just for them. And they could not use ChatGPT, they could not use anything just in there. Well, when they left there, they were curious about some stuff. So they left there, went to the other room, and went on ChatGPT and searched up a bunch of stuff. Blah, blah, blah. And then about 6 months later, somebody was researching the same thing that they were working on. And they were like, I need to know about this, this, and that. And they're like, oh, you're talking about the X project from this company. And they were like, oh, that's bad. And then they had to tell, they went to they told the supervisors, and then the supervisors didn't believe them. So then they left that little square, sectioned off office, went to the public computers, put in there some information about just general information. You're just like, and then again, it's just like, oh, you're talking about X project from the government. And it's just like, oh, okay. So that information that they were putting in there, it's AI, it's learning. It's piecing the little prompts that you're putting together, and it's just like, oh, boom, put it all together. You created that, you recreated what you were doing securely somewhere else. So that's why I mean about be mindful. You don't know how this data can be used, and you want to make sure that any data that is being used, you don't care if people have. Obviously, people know the name of my business, people know my name. So if I'm doing a general search about me and my company, I don't mind using a free thing. But if I'm putting in, hey, I have this customer that has this budget, that makes this amount a year, that has this amount of employees, that's information that should not be accessible to the public. because 6 months down the line, somebody's going to be researching that business, and then all of a sudden they're going to find out how many employees, what's their budget, what's everything. And they're like, oh, you're like cat's out of the bag, man. So again, just be mindful. Private business grade tools are good. Look into ChatGPT Enterprise if you want to stay with ChatGPT. If you have a Microsoft license and everything's inside Microsoft, you can use Copilot with the ChatGPT plugin together. And then you are basically how lawyers and offices and medical facilities are going to be securely using the AI is either using Microsoft. If they're using Microsoft, it's going to be with Copilot, with ChatGPT, or they'll have to create their own, like I said, but that has a higher cost of entry. So if you're a small business, you can use cloud-based. That's what cloud is for. Cloud was before in the enterprise world. Only the big enterprises had large servers that with permissions and access and stuff. Today we have the cloud, where you're paying this much for an entire room full of servers. So it's a lot better. Build the systems before you scale. So start off with one thing and then scale it out. I've seen a lot of people just like shotgunning everywhere, just like AI here, everywhere. Start with one, see how it works, make a bubble around it so nobody else touches it, and then scale out from there and automate as many repetitive tasks as you can. That's where the workflow comes in. If you're the owner and you don't have an admin, this is your job. If you're the owner or manager and you do have an admin, this is like a team thing where you're going through all the workflows of your business. It's like, okay, somebody comes in for our main service. How does it work from beginning to end? And then you map out that workflow. If there's anything you can automate because it's repetitive, it's the same thing, you can automate that, figure out how to automate it. Use AI. Go into ChatGPT and like, how do I automate X, Y, and Z? They'll tell you, oh, you can use AI agent, you can use Zapier, you can use IFTTT. They'll tell you a bunch of options. And you tell them like, I don't have a budget. Like it's zero. My budget is zero. How do I do this for free? How do I do this for $100? And it will tell you. So, and then when we come in is for consultations. So basically we want to protect what you've already built, and then we want to empower what's next. And that's what I have for you today. So if you want, I do have a cyber risk consultation, and I do have an AI workflow consultation just for you guys that were here in person. So if you're not here in person, they're paying for $500 an hour for that. If not, then you have access to us where we can help you basically have that consultation, have that first conversation, and help you either talk about the cybersecurity if that's something you're worried about, or how to look at your workflow. And if you really want to utilize that time, have a workflow already ready, and we can take a look at it together instead of talking just how to get a workflow. All right, so questions?
How do you, like, I know selecting AI tools and stuff, especially when it comes down to, you got to figure out what in your operations is going to need it actually, right? Like we do that customer service, for example. But how do we know that the tool, or are these tools being taught on their own LLMs, like the language learning models, right? They base it off of ChatGPT. Like, for example, in the tax industry, if I look up like a tax AI, the first thing that comes up nowadays is tax GPT. Like, okay, but is it, better, right? Would it be a more worthwhile investment for my firm to do something like that? 'Cause it's more trained, small model LLM, rather than just say like ChatGPT.
So that is a good question. So basically the difference is one is already trained, and you already basically answered the question. One is trained and one isn't. So if you wanted to do a specific thing, so let's say I want tax GPT because all I'm going to talk about is tax. It's only going to it's automated and it's trained on everything tax. So if you have very difficult tax questions, if you have if you have like weird customers that come in with like one-off things that you're just like, how does this even fit in the tax code? And like you have questions and you need to figure out these hard problems, then that's where Tax GPT will come in and be a really good asset. But then you ask Tax GPT about how to run, admin, or how to change anything in your business, or how to edit any workflows or stuff like that. It's not trained on that. It's trained on just the Tax GPT portion. So it'll give you an answer, but you'll probably get a better answer from like a generic one that's not trained specifically for a Tax GPT.
Okay, and thank you for that. And then follow up, because been seeing a lot with AI and how sometimes there's like little lies and little errors, bugging out every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
With these smaller models,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like a smaller training method.
Mm-hmm.
Do these companies give us access to kind of, well, I know it's their own secret sauce,
Yeah.
but some idea of how exactly they're trained? Is it a requirement?
No, so it's not a requirement for them to reveal what kind of training they provided inside of their LLM. It's kind of unto you to put in your thing. So let's say, so just like how I created Alice out of ChatGPT, ChatGPT doesn't know what Alice is, doesn't know what you're referring to. If I open up a brand new ChatGPT, I'm like, hey Alice, and just like, am I named Alice now? Like, what is going on? So the same thing is going to happen inside of those smaller ones. It learns with you. So if you put in your company information, well, when you're signing up, this is the stuff that it should already do if it's a good AI. Once you're putting in like the onboarding stuff, like the name information, your address and stuff like that, you want to make sure that it's, when you put in like anything generic, it's just like, who am I, or what is the name of this company, and it gives you back what you put in your onboarding. And then as you go, it's going to learn from you. Obviously, you're still the expert. You're the tax expert. So even if it prints out like, oh, this is why and this is why, you have to be knowledgeable enough to know, okay, this is correct, or this is just pulling it out of thin air. So you want to know, you're still the expert. You're still going to have to learn. You can't miss out. You can't miss out on those tax seminars every year. Those updates every year that they have on taxes. So you still have to know that. But luckily, the more you interact with the LLM, the more it's going to learn from you. Just like when I put in at first to create a professional email, it would be like, dear sir, da 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 da. It's just like very formal. It's just like, now it's like knows who I am, and it's just like, hey, such and such. This is how this is what we're doing. Hope you have a great day. By the way, we're going to come out there on Monday. Not like you have an appointed time at 10 a.m. Like, it's very robotic. It's very generic. So yeah, dash, dash, dash. It's funny because I actually used the dash, dash before the AI. So I have to now undo that so people don't think I'm doing AI stuff. But I'm just like, I put it now anyways. I'm like, if you think it's AI, that's on you. The more you use the LLM, the more it's going to learn, and the less phantom information it's going to, give you. But that's where prompt engineering comes in. So prompt engineering is going from, I have client A that has tax problem A, and I need a solution. It's going from that to, you are a tax expert. You know the penal code X, Y, and Z. You know the tax code X, Y, and Z. This is what it cannot be because of X, Y, and Z. And you are going to research this before you give me an answer. Once you've researched it, client A has all these sets of guidelines. Client A also has this set of budget, and this is what we set out to do. Now, this is the result we're trying to get, but I don't know how to get there. So once we figure out what tax code they fall into, what is the most likely result we can do, and what is the least likely to work, and rate that on a scale of 1 to 10. And then that's going to give you a lot more accurate result versus problem A, tax A, give me a solution. Yeah, what can I do? Question mark, help. Yeah, so that's where prompt engineering comes in, so you can get better and more accurate results. That's where you're putting in constant information in there. It's gonna learn. Like now, I tell it like, hey, my admin needs to send an email. And then Alice is like, oh, okay, so I'm preparing this for Kasia. So Kasia is gonna do this, this, and that. And it's just like, oh, I need this for my tech person. She's like, oh, Rebecca is gonna be doing this, this, and that. And she's like, so it learns as you use it. That's the difference between AI and automation. Automation will just give you the same result every single time, no matter what you do. And it's not gonna learn. It's just gonna, you put in, it's like an output machine. You put something in, it's gonna output something else. So that's what automation is. AI will learn as you go. So if you put in A and you're like, I don't like that, it's going to give you something different. So that's the difference between AI and automation. So the more you use AI, the better it's gonna be. You still have to be looking out for what it is, for what it's gonna be used for, and if it's gonna be accurate or not based on based on your expertise. Yeah, so, shoot.
Yeah, on the topic of securing your data,
Mm-hmm.
different tools.
Yeah.
ChatGPT, I'm not as familiar with enterprise, but there's
Mm-hmm.
professional.
Yep.
Same thing, but you can turn off, do not train
Correct.
other models.
Yes.
Gemini, some others don't have the same tools. So how do you figure out, like, or, you know, I could go through the list of
Yes.
different, like,
Mhm.
tools you use.
Exactly.
I can't figure out others how to turn that off, even
Yeah.
if they are subscription.
Correct. So there's some that don't have that option. And that's why a lot of enterprises forbid people to use things. And if you're using it, especially for, they don't care that you use it for personal stuff. As soon as you're using it for business, they have its terms for termination. Because they don't have control over that data. So ChatGPT, I set as one of the options because even on the Plus, you can do like not use for training, and because you're using the Plus, it is separate from, like, it's basically, you get a separate container, we'll call it, for that information. The difference between that one and Enterprise is that they create a whole other container for you. But you still get, so basically you get a container, like ChatGPT is just like a big storage room. And then you get a big, like a chunk cut out just for you if you're using the Plus. If you're using the Enterprise, they'll create a whole other storage room just for you. So that's the difference. So that's the level of security. So if you're putting it into the container and that's fine for what you use, great. But if not, you need a whole other container, that's where the Enterprise comes in. So that's where if you have teams and want to integrate tools from other places, you know, that's where the Enterprise will really like shine. Now, Gemini or these other ones that don't have it, we don't know how they're using their data. They can use it any way they like. Google is notorious for using your data for their advances. And so that's why a lot of places don't use Gemini or don't use Google-based AI specifically for that reason. For Gamma, it's a presentation, so it's just public information. So there's not really much that I would care to secure. So that's why I choose to use it. Gemini, I use it to create images. So like generic images. So I don't care that people are seeing it. I'm not using that to be like, oh, this is my client that has never paid a bill in 4 years, put in their budget in here and do all this. No, I'm putting in, you need to know how to use each thing appropriately. Just like it's a tool, remember? So just like how you wouldn't use a power drill to open up a laptop, you also wouldn't use a small little screwdriver to undo the wheel of a car. So each tool has different use cases for it. And if you're using it for business, if you're in Microsoft, you can be using Microsoft Copilot and Microsoft Copilot with ChatGPT. That's completely separated and in compliance. Or you can use, if you're using it for your personal use the plus to get started. Like I said, start off small and then scale as you grow. So if you want to use it for yourself or you want somebody in the office to use it, create an account for them using a business account and put it all in there. And then even if they leave, you still have access to that business account. And then boom, they have something that they can use. Or you just tell your employees, hey, if you want to get help with just drafting emails, just make sure you're not putting in the customer's information in there. Use it just for generic email, creation, and then copy, paste, and then in there you can put your stuff in there. So it's also about telling your employees what's okay, what's not okay. So each tool that you use has its pros and cons. You just got to be aware of which one you're using. Are you curious? You said you're using Intuit. Are you using anything else for like CRM or for like inventory management and stuff like that, or is it still being done like manually? Yeah.
Industry specific
Mm-hmm.
management system.
Yep.
Inventory, and working on CRM. That don't have automation, so
Okay. Cool.
chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so good. So those are things we're looking for because there's so many ways to do it. Luckily, there is very like all of them will work. Like if you take one out of the bag, like you had like all of them inside of a hat or a bag, and you just like blindly just choose one, it's very likely that it'll work. Now, will it work for the long run? Will it work securely? Can this scale with me? Can I afford this right now? Is this good for right now? And then in 5 years, I'm going to have to redo it all over again because it's not going to scale with me. So all of these things that we have to think about is when we talk about any tool that we're going to be integrating. So if it's CRM, if it's accounting software, or if it's to make presentations or whatever it is, you just want to make sure that it's built for your use case, it's within your budget, it's within your means, and it's going to scale along with you, and it's not going to drag you back. Because I've also had people just get everything, and then I'm like, okay, you're using too much, let's scale it back. You don't need 15 different AIs in your business. Or maybe you do, but we need to section them out, but to have do everything all at once, you don't need maybe an enterprise subscription for every single AI, but the main ones that you use, yeah, you're gonna need that. And the reason why I'm asking is because, you said you were going from manual over to software now. So this is the time to like really think about how you're going to be doing it. And the CRM aspect is essential. Whether you're going to use it properly, the project management side, the employee login, the amount of users you're going to access, like all of these things. Does this all sound familiar?
Oh yeah. This, last software that we were using for
A decade.
15 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whole management, like industry specific management software, invoicing, signatures, like, and it took me a few years to do it. Thankfully, this guy was next to me for
Holding your hand.
holding me accountable and holding the coffee next to me.
Yeah.
It was important because now, like, they don't have any AI specific things that they're using, but they do talk about it. There's other third-party integrations that are being brought in.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's now I'm at the point where, like, you talk about Gamma. I've also been using Gamma recently,
Mm-hmm.
the paid version, and I do like a training series with my employees throughout the year, and I would spend nights.
Mm-hmm.
nights making
Yep.
presentations.
Yep.
It's a game changer.
Yep.
Like SOP creation.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can branch off into these AI tools because my operational, I'm like, okay, I don't necessarily need,
Yeah.
like you were saying, like an AI agent.
Mm-hmm.
I was even thinking to myself,
Mm-hmm.
no, we don't need it.
Yeah. No. But people get shiny object syndrome, and they just want to put all the shiny objects everywhere. And so yeah, there's things that we do. Like I was editing a video, and it was forever to take out the small little cuts in between. And then I found an AI that integrates together with my editor, my video editor, and it's just like, oh, it detects voice, and anything that's not voice, it'll automatically cut out. I'm like, excuse me? And it was like $20. And I was like, okay, let's try it. And it was like a free trial. So I was like, all right, let me try it out. So I got it. And it was literally taking me about, it was a 30-minute video. It was gonna take me about 8 hours to get it all done. Like to cut in between each thing, because it's like the breaths and the silence and like all of that. Okay, I bought the thing, put it in there, and I was just like, let it go. 3 minutes later, it was done. And then I pressed play, and it was literally, as soon as I stopped talking, it organically, like, it didn't feel like it was like cut like really harshly. It was like organically, like, oh, I finished talking, it gave like a second, and then boom, into the next thing, and then boom, into the next thing. I was like, this thing just saved me 8 hours of my life. I'm paying this for the next year, even if I don't edit again, like, because it makes sense, So there's so many things AI can be used for, and it's fun and it's awesome and it's great. But a lot of us don't have the luxury of researching it, all of them, back and forth. That's when we come in and, we help businesses partner with businesses, and we do a lot of the research for them if they don't want to do it themselves, or they start the research and then we finish it out for them. So it really depends on what the use case is for. But AI is not going anywhere. It's not a fad. It's an implementation. It's only been 3 years that it's been publicly available, and there's almost a 90% integration or acceptance or adoption rate. I mean, so yeah, it's not going anywhere. So yeah, and it's cheap and accessible.
I'll never forget what you told me after tax season ended this year. You convinced me to get
The plus.
$20. When am I ever going to use it?
Yeah.
I paid $100.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And
Same.
I was like, this is insane.
Yeah.
$100 is nothing. I spent my own time.
Yeah.
Thousands.
Yes.
Thousands.
Mm-hmm.
That's what. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I'm a great presentation maker.
Yeah.
And then this thing takes over. I mean, so that's the thing. So and that's the thing. Like, these tools, they're like, people are like, oh, it's gonna replace people. Like, well, yes, if your only job was making presentations. Like, if that's your only job, then yeah. First of all, you're not really high up in the what you add to the business, kind of hierarchy. And if the only thing you're doing is presentation making, I'm sorry to say, you're out of business. However, if you're a marketer or a designer and you're unfortunately spending all your time making presentations, you've just opened up 40 hours of your week again. And now you can focus on other things. So is it replacing people? Not necessarily. It's replacing things that should be automated. It's replacing things that is mundane and repetitive and all that. And that's not the kind of work we want to be focused on anyways. Like, presentations, it was important to make because the people that need to see it need to, we need to relay the information for the people that is going to see it, and presentation is the best way to make it. However, the best use case of my time is to research and to give the best information, and not necessarily making the presentation itself. So yeah, that's how it's going to evolve, and that's how it's going to continue to evolve. Any more questions? No? All right, cool. Well, that is our time, and thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, you have my contact information. I have your contact information. I'll send you a copy of the presentation we just did, so you can look over it through your own notes. And yeah, feel free to get in contact with me, and we'll definitely, yeah. Yeah, somebody on my team will definitely help you out. Yeah.
I think we can nail you out.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. No, awesome.
Yeah, definitely take it on the.
Yeah, I'll show you an email and we'll set up a time. I'll give you some time to digest it a little bit.
Yeah, so I just one of the first things I did after buying the business was join, or even before, kind of like it was about to close, was have membership in the industry association lined up. So I've been to the trade shows and all the workshops. They just had an AI workshop in Seattle a month and a half ago. I went to, so it was like, they went through Gamma, this other one, Omada, which is for that's what I'm using now, and I've spoken to the president of that company, and they're like rolling stuff out. Fast. Like every few weeks, it's like
correct.
And like one of the guys at the conference was like, so everything that you're doing with AI today is the worst it's ever going to be.
Yes.
Like every day.
Yes.
It's like it's just
correct.
it's so like exponential. But, yeah, that we're doing some cool things, and I don't know if I didn't get it to work as well.
Okay.
There's like this one like something FAI or I can't remember what, but basically for like creating videos, like AI based videos and
Got it.
stuff. But it was a little more complicated to get set up
Yep.
than I did. But in this video editing, because I'm starting a YouTube channel just on some like content and stuff.
Yep.
And I kind of have like my own pictures created into video with an AI voiceover, but I want to actually have like real content of my own.
Of course.
But I wanted to ask what that video editor was. 'Cause I was like, I can go into Canva.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do all this stuff.
Yeah, I have it on my main editing computer, so I'll send it over to you, the exact one. I use Adobe Premiere.
Okay.
So it integrates with Adobe Premiere. I think it also with DaVinci Resolve.
Okay.
Which one do you use?
I've never edited video other than like piecemealing.
Yeah.
Canva, like here's my video part, and here's some other stuff before and after. But I have Adobe for the signature PDF. That stuff,
Yeah.
But, maybe there's a bundle or something.
There is. The Creative Cloud is about $80 a month, and it includes the Adobe Premiere, unless it's on sale, which it should be.
Okay. I'll wait. And,
Black Friday is in 2 weeks or a week and a half. So
Staples, if you need direct mail stuff, Staples would tell me postcards type stuff. Wednesday before Thanksgiving will be like 70%.
Really? Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah. No. So one of the most commonly used one is Sora.
I've heard of that one. Yeah.
For AI video creation. Sora is very popular. All the like Instagram Reels and TikToks are made with Sora.
It leaves their watermark on
if you don't pay for it.
So that's the free version.
Yes, that's the free version. Yeah, so if you don't pay for it, you get the watermark, which people are using it for memes, so they're not going to pay for it.
I was trying to make some videos just as like for content posts on like, this is how we're using just like a video, but then it'd be like, great, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be awesome, and then like the last 10% of it, it's like, this big crane comes out and takes the container off the trip. I'm like, that's not how we do it. You could just tilt it and slid it off, and it would have been fine.
It's just like slam.
And then you can't. I think they're coming out with features where you'll be able to
edit portions
AI rather than starting over from scratch.
Correct.
Every time,
you have to create an.
It's enough to. Like I usually have the rule like, okay, we're 80% of the way there. Go for it. But sometimes that little piece is so.
Well, what you can also do is like do a blooper for the last 10%, and we're like, this is how AI thinks we do it.
That's a good idea.
And then this is how.
I could chop up this video.
This is how AI thinks we do it, and then this is how we actually do it. So you can do a play with it. It's all about creative. All about creative.
Yeah, because I am planning to launch or start integrating some more humorous type stuff in my
that's what it is. Content
it
creation.
hasn't been consistent content, but that's what I'm trying to get there, mixing it.
No, I get it.
The CRMs. Well, actually, I was going to ask you because one of the ones they had I was starting to use before the conference was Lindy for creating agents.
Okay.
It's a pretty big one. Have you?
No.
Yeah, so I don't. It makes me want to go back and check because it integrates anything that connects to my Gmail. I'm like pause, like because we use G Suite.
Yep.
And
Nice.
so the Lindy, you can create agents for anything. Voice agents, email responders, deep research.
Nice.
Ties in other tools.
It's probably accessible too, like budget friendly.
Yeah, I think
Because
it's 200 a month, but they have like certain credits.
Yeah.
You can create all those tools.
And then it'll just use the credits as needed.
Yeah.
There's one that's putting a lot of AI into it now, which is HubSpot.
Yeah.
But it's fairly on the expensive side.
Yeah.
For HubSpot,
Lindy's an AI. It's an AI agent creator, so it's not a CRM.
Oh, okay.
But
you can use it as a CRM. Yep.
Through all your stuff.
Okay.
Automate things, but I'm thinking of the one that I have kind of sounds like the storage version of what you have. It's like it has CRM and it has like an address book and your customers.
Yep.
But you can't do email campaigns off of it. It doesn't tie in your social media or pay-per-click leads into that CRM.
Yeah.
I would have to.
So that's more of a ERP than a CRM.
Right. Yeah. They call it. It has some features and it
yeah, because CRM is literally just for customer management, and it can also integrate with other things.
Yeah.
But the CRM, if you use it properly, it's for so you can see the client engagement going back and forth and stuff like that. Where
sales and marketing.
Yes, that's correct.
Customers, I want it for the prospects.
The new ones.
And then I can input them into the.
Yes. So a CRM would be better for that rather than an ERP. To start off small. To start off small, I would say get a CRM that will do the sales and marketing aspect of everything that you need. And then for the social media stuff and the email, you can have other things that integrate with that CRM. So for me, I use my CRM just for CRM. And then I have an email campaign called MailChimp.
Oh, yeah.
MailChimp. It was either that one or Active Campaign. I used Active Campaign for a little bit, and then I switched over to MailChimp, and MailChimp was just easier to use. It was a little bit pricier, but it was easier to use, and I have somebody else using it, so I was just like, here, you'll have a better time using it. And then the other one that I was using is called, for the social media, I was using Buffer, but I wanted to add for
responses and stuff, or managing
posts.
Oh, content.
Yeah, content. But now I'm using one that's called Loomly.
Okay.
And Loomly was doing the same thing as Buffer, but now I can add up to 10 platforms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Buffer, the one that I was using, the tier that I was paying for was only for 4 platforms. And then I was like, well, now I want to, not just for the business, but I want it for myself. So I'm going to use Loomly because for the same amount, now I get this. And when I told my social media manager to use it, she's like, this is a lot better than Buffer. I was like, oh, and it's also better and it's cheaper. So I'm using Loomly. If I really wanted to go all out, then that's when I would get Hootsuite. Hootsuite is Hootsuite, like owl, Hootsuite. Yeah, that one is the most advanced in my opinion. And it has everything that you need in it.
I got a lot after this conference because it's getting better, but you can incorporate your branding and schedule stuff, but they're constantly doing updates. So I think they do Instagram and Facebook now. They're adding YouTube and LinkedIn. So it's all this stuff. It's coming out faster.
It's faster than the speed of light. Yeah, and if you're not